Hi, Radiant Heart. I've been thinking a lot about sustainability lately. And when we hear the word sustainability, most of the time I think we think about the planet. But what if sustainability has to exist or must exist within our bodies first? I recently lost my brother, and he taught me a lot about sustainability, not in what he said, but what his life showed me. And I also have worked in healthcare for 30 plus years. And recently my body said, enough, enough. So I've been thinking about what does it look like to live sustainably within my own body, thinking of it in terms of spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and then breaking it down into, giving versus receiving, planning versus trusting, rest versus productivity, in structure versus flow, and realizing, listening really to the rhythms of my own body, of days that are really productive, and then days that may just be, taking small steps that are keeping my life viable but minimal, minimal effort on my part on those days. And then days of just complete recovery of I need rest. And realizing and having a lot of grace with myself, but going back to, the emotional sustainability of not overgiving. I'm learning and realizing that historically in my life, I'm just a giver because I have a huge heart. But there has to be a sustainable giving and receiving, and I'm not good at receiving. I'm not. I was, I guess, kind of forced to really be independent because of life circumstances. I had to be independent. I was a single mom. Everything rested on my shoulders, and I learned to be strong, and productive because that's what society tells us. And, there's conditioning there of, especially in the US, of productivity. And I think that has to do with, capitalism, really. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but so really that emotional give and take of giving myself what I need emotionally. And sometimes that's just, I don't want to be productive today because sometimes I need recovery days, and recovery is productive in the way that it keeps me from burning out in life. And also that's nervous system sustainability, because if I'm constantly in that, I have to just push through. It doesn't matter how my body's feeling, I must push through. That leads to chronic stress. And, stress is underrated when it comes to decline in health and actually death. And so having to relearn in this space that I'm in right now of really reorganizing how I think, restructuring my life that allows it to be more sustainable for me, so that I'm able to work in a way that feels good and meaningful, and yet it doesn't lead to burnout again. And then there's also, I already kind of touched on this, but relational sustainability around give and take and allowing others to give to me without feeling guilty. Um, and just letting my gratitude be enough for having received what they give, whatever that might be. And yeah, that's challenging for me, but I'm learning. Um, Not easy, but I'm learning. And then there's purpose sustainability for me around, I have purpose. I know what my purpose is, but that doesn't mean that every single day I have to get up and, help. I mean, I am, like I said, I have a huge heart, and part of my purpose on this planet is to help others. And I don't even like that word help. It's really more about inspiring, encouraging, and empowering others into their greater self. And that's part of what this video is about, is sharing the things that I'm walking with, because I'm right there with you. I'm holding your hand in this process that I believe that we're all in. I don't think this is just about me. I think this is kind of collectively where many people are right now. And if this is where you are, you're not alone. And sustainability is really about balance. And balance isn't about giving equally. It's about not neglecting anything chronically. And it's about consistency, small steps, small consistent steps. And I tend to be pretty intense sometimes. And so sometimes it makes me think of my garden. In the past, it's like, I love, 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 and I'm going to bring this back to the tarot. So with tarot, the cups are about, our emotion. And so I pour my love out onto my plants in the form of water, literally, which is what the cups in the tarot card is, the cup suit and the tarot cards is all about. And I'm learning, they don't need that intense watering all of the time, just a little bit, just, enough to keep that soil just a little bit damp. And so, my garden, just tending life, is really teaching me a lot of lessons about what it looks like and how it's life sustaining, just tending those small things in life and just taking those small consistent steps and being consistency and balance. And I also got a reward today in the form of a hummingbird. Like I talked about it in a different video about, planting my little patio garden, my urban garden, and creating an ecosystem so that pollinators will be attracted to the space so that they'll pollinate my food, because I'm also growing food and herbs. And today I was met by a hummingbird. I saw my first hummingbird on my patio, and just this joy just welled up in me, and I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, it's working. Just these small things that I'm doing bring joy. And so, yeah, it's just about balance. And if we're out of balance, we're not living a sustainable life. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today. And thank you for being here, Radiant Heart. I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm glad you're here to walk this path with me. And I really, really appreciate you. Until next time, much love.